Okay, so the word cast is used basically to summarize the important things you need to know about sine, cosine, and tan, where they are positive, where they are negative. And that's the big thing. You need to know in the first quadrant, this is the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. You got your 4 quadrants. You need to know in each quadrant. Let's say you're in quadrant 1. Remember, you can draw a triangle. Like for instance, you can draw a triangle here. Okay? You can draw a triangle there in the first quadrant. And you can say, this is my x. Okay? That's how far I go forward. This is my y, how far I go up. Okay? And r is like my radius, because you can make a circle out of this thing and say r is my radius. So I can say, I've got x, I've got y, I've got r. Now think about it, if theta is the angle over there, this is theta, okay? Then if I say sine theta would be opposite over hypotenuse, y over r, okay? Obviously, if you're in the first quadrant, y is positive, because you're going up. R is positive because r, the radius, is a distance, okay, from there to there. But y, because it's on the Cartesian plane, the y values when you go up are positive, the y values when you go down are negative. The x values are positive when you go forward to the right, the x values are negative when you go left. Okay? Remember, think of a Cartesian plane, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, 1, 2, 3, go up, 1, 2, 3, go down, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So when we're looking at the Cartesian plane, okay, and we are in the first quadrant, then sine theta would be y over r would be positive. Cos theta would be adjacent of hypotenuse, x over r, which is also positive. And tan theta would be opposite over adjacent, y over x. So as you can see, the important thing here, actually, what we're looking at with the cast, we're going to talk about this word now again, but what we're looking at is where are they positive and where are they negative. But all of them are positive here, okay? So this ends up being positive, this ends up being positive, and this ends up being positive, because they're all positive values, okay? So they're all positive. That's why when you look at the, we're going to get to this right now, but one of the letters is A, and the A comes in here, which means all. All of them are positive. In the first quadrant, all the angles, sine, cos, and tan, are all positive. Okay? Let's go to the second quadrant. If you draw the triangle over here, okay, we say, you went from there, this angle here is called theta. Okay, we say this angle on this part, from 0 to 90, we call it theta. Okay, let's make it another color. Okay, let's say 0 to 90, we just talk about theta, because the angle is there somewhere. So we just call it theta. Okay, now when you go to the second quadrant, you go past 90, all the way to 180. Then we call the angle 180 minus theta. Okay, why this? Think about it. Let's say the angle here was 30 degrees. Okay, then here 180 minus 30 is 150. So if you go all the way to 150, from there, 0, 90, 150. Okay, if the angle goes all the way up to there, then we can say it's 180 minus 30, which is 150. Okay, and then when we get past 180, let's just go through all of them. When we get past 180, we call it 180 plus theta. When you go into the third quadrant, we call it 180 plus theta. And then when we go all the way around to the fourth quadrant, we call it 360 minus theta. That's just how you will see when we do that. That's how you should know them. First quadrant theta, second quadrant 180 minus theta, then 180 plus theta, and then 360 minus theta. So let's say the angle is 30 degrees. Then it will be 30 here. If you go around, it's 180 minus 30 is 150. If you go all the way around up to here, it's 180 plus 30, which is 210. And if you go here, 360 minus 30 is 330. Then you go all the way to 330. Almost all the way around, but not all the way around. So these 4 important. Now let's look at the second quadrant. If it's in this quadrant, okay, and it's 180 minus theta. So you went, remember theta is 30, so there's 30. So 180 minus 30 means 150. So the angle from there all the way to there is 150 there. Okay? So what happens here? Think about it. Now you're going back. So now we're going to say x is negative. Like negative 5 or negative 4, whatever. It's negative. But you're going up. So y is still positive. And r, like I said, is always positive. Okay? The hypotenuse side will always be positive. Okay? So there's my 90-degree angle. There's my 90-degree angle. That is r. This one is y up, positive. This one is going back, negative x. So what happens now? Now we can say, so sine 180 minus theta. Let's talk about that one. Sine 180 minus theta. Okay? So it's going to be in this triangle now. Second quadrant. So where is 180 minus theta? Opposite over hypotenuse, y over r. See, because I'm looking at the second quadrant now, 180 minus theta is the second quadrant, the triangle. And another thing, the triangle must always go to the x-axis. You never draw the triangle like there and then to the y-axis. The triangle always goes to the x-axis. So now, if this is my triangle and my angle that I'm looking at is here, then it's opposite of hypotenuse, y over r. So sine 180 minus theta is going to be y over r, which is still positive. Because y is positive, r is positive. But what about cos? If you look at cos 180 minus theta, think about it now. Cos 180 minus theta is adjacent of hypotenuse. Okay? I'm looking at this triangle, 180 minus theta, I'm looking at this triangle. Adjacent of hypotenuse is negative x over r. So for the first time we have a negative x over r, which means the answer is negative. And tan 180 minus theta will be tan is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. Y over negative x. Y over negative x, which ends up being negative as well. So can you see only sine is positive now? Cos and tan are negative. Now that's where the S comes in. S is for sine. Okay? So sine is positive here. And obviously that means if you think of the word cos, you can say cos will be positive, all will be positive, sine will be positive, and tan will be positive. So that's the word, okay, the word that you must remember, cos. Cos is positive in the fourth quadrant. All of them are positive in the first quadrant. Sine is positive in the second quadrant. And tan is positive in the third quadrant. Just highlight the letters for you. C-A-S-T, cos. So if I give you any angle now, if I say, for instance, what is sine 360 minus theta? I'm not going to do the other two triangles as well. You get the idea with the triangles. If I say what's sine 360 minus theta, you ask yourself in which quadrant is that? It's in this quadrant, the fourth quadrant. And which one is positive in the fourth quadrant? Cos. So that means sine must be negative. Okay? So it becomes negative sine theta. So we say sine 360 minus theta is equal to negative sine theta. It has to become negative. Okay? Here when we just put in the positive, actually what happens is sine 180 minus theta is positive sine theta. Positive sine theta. But the important thing is to get the sign right. Cos 180 minus theta is negative cos theta. And tan 180 minus theta is negative tan theta. Okay, because it's still an angle, it's still tan, But if you compare tan 180 minus theta with the normal tan theta, like there we had tan theta, opposite of adjacent. But here we've got 180 minus theta with y over negative x. Here it was y over x, now it's y over negative x. So you can say they're exactly the same, but the one is positive, the other one is negative. Second quadrant negative for tan, first quadrant positive. Does it make sense? And let's do one more. If I say what is tan 180, no, let's make it 180 plus theta. What is tan 180 plus theta equal to? So 180 plus theta is the third quadrant. And what is tan in the third quadrant? Positive. So tan 180 plus theta is equal to tan theta. You don't even have to put in the positive. It's obvious that it's positive when you don't put in anything. Okay, maybe one more. If I say cos 180 plus theta. What do you guys think? Cos 180 plus theta. 180 plus theta, third quadrant. Cos in the third quadrant? Negative. Because tan is positive. Only tan is positive. So the answer would be negative cos theta. Okay.